Yeah, so I'm Martyn Phillips, Chief Executive of the Welsh Rugby Union. Been in post for a couple of years now. Some main parts of the job are to oversee the professional game in Wales. So that's any of our national teams, age group, or men's, women's sevens, and then work closely with the regions, and then also oversee the 320 sort of amateur community clubs to try and drive participation and help them to be sustainable. Well, to me, it's still a sort of embryonic startup type situation, but in effect, what it's trying to do is that, as you may know, there's 3 million Welsh people who live outside Wales who will have varying degrees of connection to Wales, but certainly I'm not aware of something that connects and glues that together in any more sort of formal way than Global Welsh is trying to do. So in effect, I guess in the first instance, we're trying to connect people up to find a sort of common purpose. I think what you find with Welsh people tend to be fairly patriotic, fairly proud. I think because we're a small nation, people feel a sense of affinity and a sense of wanting to contribute. So I think we're trying to appeal to that, find people with common purpose and common interest in that, and see if we can sort of put them together and see if we can inspire, I guess, good things to happen in a whole range of different fields, whether that be business, sport, media, art, trying to sort of connect that up. So relatively new. I met Walter May probably about 6 months ago. Was really inspired by what he and his sort of colleagues were trying to do. I've lived outside Wales for 25 years, so I guess I'm in the diaspora in that sense, and then worked a lot globally in my job, and was really sort of inspired by the opportunity, I guess. So over the last 6 months, we've decided as Welsh Rugby Union to be a founding partner. So we've put some money in to help get Global Welsh off the ground, and then more recently was sort of fortunate that Walter asked me if I would chair the board. So keen to really play my part in that, I guess. I think it's critical, but the reason I'm excited by the opportunities, I'm not sure there's much happened in this space in Wales before. So we know from the research, not research that I've done, but that certainly Walter and some of his colleagues have done. Other countries are very, very good at this. So good examples would be New Zealand and Ireland, who are probably relatively similar size to Wales. In New Zealand's case, relatively remote. And what they've managed to do over a period of a couple of decades is to prove that if you connect sort of like-minded people up, then good things happen. So good things can be good things economically, or good things from a sort of philanthropic point of view. So it's a sort of proven model. And then when you look at Wales, we know there's 3 million Welsh people outside Wales. We know a lot of those people do great things and are at the top of their professions, whether that be in singing or art, sport, business. But what is it? What's out there that sort of connects those people together and allows them to in effect do something good and positive for Wales? So we know it's a proven model. We know little has happened, therefore, from a Welsh point of view. So one would think there's a lot of upside if we can put some sort of energy and infrastructure into that opportunity. Yeah, I think it's sort of one of the important things. Is I guess it's quite topical today with the news about the Severn Bridge tolls disappearing. So on the one hand might be a small thing, but if you're a freight operator, then that's a big bill every year. So that's a potential barrier removed. Been talk this week about the electrification of the train. Obviously Cardiff Airport critical. From my perspective, seems to be a lot of positive things going on at the airport. So I think anything that makes it easy. I think we're in a world of convenience, so we're all impatient. We want everything immediately. So I think Wales as a nation needs to make it easy for people to sort of interact and invest in the country. So I would be hopeful. I'm not sure it's our critical ambition to influence that, but I would hope that one of the positive side effects of what we're doing will be to sort of remove barriers to entry, in effect, for people to sort of trade and interact with Wales. What I have been impressed with is there's definitely the talent here. So I think, whether it be, entrepreneurial businesses, I think in the sort of tech area we seem to be starting to make progress. So I think it's back to that our advantage should be that we're agile. So the bigger nations you would assume are, more cumbersome, more red tape. I think the opportunity for any, and we're trying to do it with rugby really, we know we won't be the richest nation, we won't be the nation with the most players, but we can be the most joined up, have the most common purpose, be the most agile, and I think that applies in business as well. So we can't compete on scale, but we have to in effect play to our strengths, which one would assume would be around if you want to get things done and be entrepreneurial, and that this is a good place to come. So there's sort of two main things we're doing. So one is we have a partnership with Kitakaishu, which is a sort of province in Japan. So that's formalised. They were over here last year to sort of sign that. They came over for the Wales-Japan game last autumn. So we're out there now in September working with them on two main thrusts really. So one is that'll be our base when we're out there for the World Cup. So there'll be a lot of work gone in to lay the foundations for that. And then also we want to put a sort of legacy program into Japan. So we're going to be aiming to have a sort of rugby academy over there, which is a partnership between the Welsh Rugby Union and Kitakaishu. So we will look to develop, currently our target is 100 new coaches. We'll clearly then will develop several hundred players. So that's a sort of key part of our legacy program. And then we just recently announced a new shirt sponsor. So Isuzu are going to be our shirt sponsor from the start of next season. We're obviously a Japanese car manufacturer, and again that's a sort of gives us a strong sort of commercial link into the country as well. So all that's sort of pretty critical to the plan. God, that's a good question. I think it's two very different things. So I think Six Nations, we would always go into that tournament feeling we had a realistic chance of winning it. I think the thing that's changed slightly with that is that most of the sides now are strong, and on their day one side can beat the other. We were on the sort of wrong end of that in the last Six Nations, so sort of had a couple of narrow losses, need to convert those into a couple of wins, and then we go in there with every chance. I think with World Cup it is totally different. One of the advantages I think we have, certainly in sort of Warren particularly, is that he's got a good track record of when he gets time with players, he's able to sort of gel them and get them behind a sort of, a kind of key plan. So again, with Japan in 2019, with a lot of planning's gone in already in terms of how we use the next 2 years to sort of get ourselves with sort of both momentum and clarity on how we want to play and go there to give it a real shot.